the breakthrough moment of life's reincarnation. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's program. Have you ever felt that some of the inexplicable fears and groundless anxieties in your life do not seem to belong to the here and now? Today, we are diving into the first chapter of Dr. Brian Weiss's classic work, Many Lives, Many Masters. Let's explore how an orthodox chief of psychiatry, in what seemed like a routine psychotherapy session, accidentally unlocked the door to soul reincarnation. Together, let us gaze into the intersection of science and the unknown. Meeting Catherine, a life consumed by fear and anxiety. The protagonist of our story. Catherine was an attractive woman with medium-length blonde hair and hazel eyes. At the time, she worked as a lab technician at the same teaching hospital where Dr. Brian Weiss served as chief of psychiatry. And she also picked up extra money working as a swimsuit model. However, when she finally mustered the courage, after taking 2 to 3 months, to walk into Dr. Weiss's office, her hands were cold and wet with anxiety. Catherine's life was persistently ruled by a pervasive and inescapable terror. Extreme phobias. She feared water, darkness, flying, and death itself, to the point where she was too terrified to even swallow a pill for fear of it getting stuck in her throat. Extreme behaviors to find a sense of safety. She frequently slept curled up inside a wardrobe large enough for one person, tossing and turning for 2 to 3 hours every night before finally drifting into a broken, easily disturbed sleep. Recurring sleepwalking or nightmares from her childhood had also returned. And as these fears and symptoms intensified, her depression deepened. A complex past and reality. She grew up in a conservative Catholic family in a small Massachusetts town, where her father suffered from chronic alcoholism and occasional physical abuse toward her mother, leaving her with a deep-seated lack of security. After moving to Miami, she became entangled in a turbulent, the dead end of conventional therapy and an unexpected clue. Faced with Catherine's symptoms, Dr. Weiss initially took the textbook approach, attempting to uncover the root of her problems through intensive psychotherapy and exploring childhood trauma. Over 18 months of intensive treatment, guided by her doctor, Catherine recalled several painful episodes, being pushed off a diving board into a swimming pool at age 5, leaving her terrified, experiencing intense shock and fear at age 11 when her mother suffered from severe depression and underwent electroconvulsive therapy, which nearly wiped out her memory, the most distressing memory occurring at age 3. Yet, despite successfully unearthing these suppressed pains, Catherine's core symptoms showed no improvement whatsoever. She remained tortured by darkness, water, a feeling of suffocation, and a general loss of control. Conventional psychological counseling seemed to have hit an insurmountable brick wall. The turning point came during an accidental trip to Chicago. While visiting the museum's ancient Egyptian exhibition with Stewart, Catherine was not only struck by an intense sense of familiarity with the artifacts, but when the tour guide began explaining the exhibits, she actually corrected him, and she was right. This bizarre and striking experience finally led Catherine to reluctantly agree to try regression hypnotherapy. The torrent of timeless memory, the emergence of Aranda, under soothing guidance in the clinic, Catherine entered a deep hypnotic state. Dr. Weiss originates only intended to use hypnosis to trace deeper childhood shadows. But when he gave her the firm instruction to go back to the time when your symptoms began, an unexpected marvel unfolded. Catherine's voice grew slow, elegant, and soft as she spoke in whispers, revealing an entirely different identity. A past life identity. She called herself Aronda, an 18-year-old living in the year 1863 BC. The salad details she vividly described wearing a coarse, oversized robe and long braided blonde hair, living in a valley that was hot, barren, sandy, and entirely devoid of rivers, relying instead on water piped down from the mountains. The tragic moment of death, guided toward the moment of her death, Catherine relived a sudden, massive flood or tidal surge that overwhelmed her village. Wearing a brown robe and sandals, she was a mother. Her child at the time, Krista, was actually Rachel, her beloved niece in the present life, who desperately tried to hold on to her child in the freezing, violent waters, only to watch helplessly as her baby was swept away from her arms. As she relieved the drowning and suffocation, Catherine breathed heavily and struggled in the clinic chair, before suddenly relaxing entirely, her breathing turning slow and calm. She murmured, "I see clouds. The child is by my side, along with other villagers. I see my brother." That lifetime drew to a quiet close while she remained deep in trance. The overwhelming shock and reflection of scientific reason. When the hypnosis session ended, Dr. Weiss was left utterly dumbfounded. As an orthodox medical expert trained in strict scientific methods, he reviewed his patient using decades of clinical experience. Catherine showed absolutely no signs of schizophrenia, hallucination, or delusion. She was not someone lost in fantasy, nor did she have multiple personalities, and she had taken no psychedelic drugs or excessive alcohol. The thoughts, expressions, and meticulous attention to minute details she displayed under hypnosis were entirely different from her waking self. Where on earth did these vivid memories come from? At that moment, although Dr. Weiss's scientifically trained intellect instinctively resisted concepts like reincarnation and past lives, the undeniable reality unfolding right before his eyes shattered his existing worldview, thrusting him into an entirely unfamiliar realm he had never known before. Catherine's story was merely the starting point of Dr. Doug Brian Weiss's extraordinary journey. It forces us to wonder just how many unknown memories of space and time does human consciousness carry, and are the inexplicable fears and bonds we experience in this life simply waiting for us to find answers in another past. Thank you for listening to this episode. May you find the courage to confront the unknown parts of yourself on your own journey of inner exploration. We will see you next time.